The story begins with showing the Namib Desert of Africa. Here we see a research team, because they found out about a place here. Because they believed that there is a treasure here. Actually, these people used to work for a private company, and their job was to find the treasures or diamonds buried in the desert. And that's why these three go to the place where they find a big egg-shaped rock. When Paul hits the rock with a hammer, the rock breaks and a strange creature comes out of it and kills all three of them. After that, the scene changes and we are shown a lab in the city. Where Drive, Jack was helping a crew with his fellow scientists who were trapped in a room. And the temperature of that room was about to reach -100 degrees Celsius. With which Jack controls his thoughts and saves the crew's life. After that, Jack's boss comes to him and gives him a job to go to the field and find something. After that, we see in the next scene that Jack reaches the same desert that we saw in the beginning of the movie. Now the taxi driver takes Jack off and leaves from here. And here an old man was sitting with his small shop. That old man gives him a cold drink can. Seeing this, Jack is very happy that it's good that I got something in this barren desert. Anyway, now Commander Carl comes to receive Jack, and takes him to the base of his company. At the reception of the base, he meets his companion John with Mickey. Now Mickey checks his belongings by giving Jack's passport, in which he finds Jack's machine Charlie, which was a tracker. And this tracker could find water up to 2,000 feet below. Now during the check, Carl's companion Titus also comes, who had a dead snake. Anyway, to enter Jack, Mickey finds a diary, which John keeps in his pants. Now for his misbehavior, Jack kills John and makes him unconscious. And Mickey takes that diary and leaves from there. Now after a while, Jack and Mickey leave from a truck in search of those people whom we saw in the beginning of the movie, who came here in search of diamonds. They had carried a lot of fuel on their truck, because they had to wander up to 1,000 kilometers. After that, we meet two more new characters here, in which the girl's name was Magda and the boy's name was Kurt. And these two were the drivers of this truck. Before starting the journey, an old man gives Titus a bone locket, on which there was a terrible skull design. Anyway, their journey begins and we see that Jack was getting a little attracted to Mickey. Now after wandering in this desert for a long time, Mickey sees the truck of those previous people. Anyway, when these people get off their trucks and go a little further, then they find two human skulls there. One skull also had a knife, looking at which Carl understands that this is Paul's body. Now everyone was surprised by the fact that their death must have happened here only 5 to 6 hours ago. So how did their body decompose so quickly and become a skull? Mickey asks to call the police to investigate it, but Carl's suspicion was on that third man, because there were only 2 skulls here, while 3 people had come here. That means the third man must have killed them both. Then Titus calls them to himself. Here they see the footprints of the people they are following. Magda was in the same truck. Now after coming ahead, they find out that in the beginning there were only 2 footprints. But now they are getting 4 footprints. Then Jack's truck starts beeping in one direction, after which everyone moves in the same direction. These people reach a place like a cemetery, looking at which it seemed that maybe there would be black magic here. Titus prevents Jack from touching anything here. In the way the old man gave the locket to Titus, the same skull was made on the bones here. Fairhubcart takes the truck to them and reaches, and all these people get on the truck and go to their base. They think about sending a forensic team here. Then they find a skull on the way. That means that third man had also died, on which Carl had a doubt. Carl was very upset because someone had killed his companions mercilessly. Carl tells Magda that we will have to find the killer who did this. But Magda refuses him because it was going to be night, and now they have to spend the night here. Jack remembers the incident that happened to him, that how he came here even though he didn't want to. But in the midst of all this, one good thing happened to him. That he was able to meet Mickey. After that he skates on the sand that Mickey was looking at. After that, Mickey brings Jack's machine to him, because she was beeping for a long time, which means that someone is around them in this desolate desert. But Jack and Mickey were busy making their relationship. Anyway, when it's too late to talk to them here, so Mickey goes to sleep in the truck. But Jack sits there on the sand, and that's when his machine starts beeping loudly. When Jack looks around him, he doesn't see anything. And that's when that creature comes in front of him. Seeing this, Jack goes to the screaming truck and wakes up Carl. When Carl looks around with his torch, he doesn't see anything. He says to Jack, "Look, you're in Africa. You must have seen an animal." This often happens here. That's when Mickey tells him that the skulls of our companions are missing. Carl thinks that Jack must have done this. But Jack gets angry at him and says, "That you also know that something strange is going on here. And anyway, what will I do with those bones?" After that, Titus tells him about Kulo, who was a queen, and she is the first and last tongue of her species, which is even earlier than the dinosaurs. And she only hunts other things. She only leaves the bones. But all these things seem nonsense to Carl. Anyway, after a while, Kulo and Jack hear the sounds of the machine beeping again. So Carl tells Magda to take the truck in the same direction. But Magda tells him to be in the morning. Anyway, as soon as it's morning, all these people follow the footprints of that thing and move on. Now after coming to one place, all these people start looking for that creature all around. They see that creature at one place, and Carl shoots it with his gun, and as soon as the bullet hits, that creature shatters like ash. When people go to some place and see, so they don't get anything there. Carl was also very surprised to see this. Here they find the missing bones of their companions, which Cool keeps in the truck. Anyway, when people decide to leave from there, as soon as the truck starts, there is a short circuit in the truck, because of which it catches fire, which Magda extinguishes. But Kurt tells that now it will take me months to handle the truck. Now all these people had lost their way, and they don't even get a signal when they check Mickey's radio. Now all these people decide to stay here. A plane also passes by them, but his attention does not go to these people. Magda tells people that look, we have a lot of water and food. That's why you don't have to worry too much. Now these people had spent a lot of days living here. Now one day Kurt wakes up to protect Titus, and goes to sleep in his sleeping bag. Then Titus realizes that someone is here, and that creature was going to Kurt. Then when Titus goes to wake up Kurt, then he sees that one side of Kurt's face has completely disappeared. Then he calls Carl and his other companions. But, before they came, those creatures that had turned into small particles, which looked like small black rays, they also make Titus their prey. Then Carl Laker starts firing on that sleeping bag. Jack and Mickey take the injured Titus in the truck. The bullet had no effect on that creature. It was moving towards them. That's why Carl spills the petrol there, and waits for it to come to him. Magda forbids him from lighting the fire, because Kurt would also get burned in it. But Carl was not going to believe. Then Jack tells that creature is going back, because of the petrol. After this, everyone starts looking at Titus. Now Jack puts petrol all around the truck, and saves everyone, because this creature was not coming near the petrol. Then Carl sees that that creature has taken a terrifying form. Seeing this, Carl attacks it, with which that creature starts going away. Now here Carl and Jack have a fight, because Jack was stopping Carl from firing. Mickey tells him while stopping, that we don't have to fight each other. After this, everyone makes a plan, that we will go to our base on foot and get help. And in the meantime, Magda will stay in the truck with Titus. And the next morning, Mimi, Carl and Jack go ahead in the desert on foot. After coming a long way, they see a sandstorm coming towards them, in which they all get stuck. After the sandstorm ends, they check their luggage again, in which Jack's machine broke, and they also took a box of petrol, most of the petrol of which had fallen in the sand. Anyway, it gets dark while walking, and they decide to stop at the same place, putting petrol all around them, and sit in the middle of it. These three were sitting here holding each other's hands. That's when that creature comes here in Magda's skull. He had put Magda's face instead of his face. Because of the petrol, he could not come inside the circle. So that's why he goes away from here. Now after moving forward, he gets the same truck of his friends, with which he had come to that egg. That's why these people call for help first. And after that, they both go behind Jack in that egg. Inside, Jack understands that this place belongs to the same queen creature, and it is a developed form of the species of ants. Now his companion John had also reached him. He looks at his friends' dead bodies above. Here these three also understood that Titus was absolutely right. Now John also reaches him, and takes them to the gunpoint. Finds out about the rest of his friends. Now they tell John the whole truth. But he can't believe it. He thinks he took the diamond, killed his other friends. That's why he handcuffs these three. He goes to his base. These three had understood that how dangerous that creature is. That's why if they don't stop him now, it will be impossible to stop later. That's why Carl attacks John from behind. makes him unconscious, because he knew that that creature wants to make his entire colony. That's why they come to that mine. They had an explosive liquid, which Carl keeps with him, and they go inside that mine. They couldn't see anything here. That's when Jack sees an old generator here, from which there was light in that mine. And after that, they start going inside that mine. And we see that that creature also knew about their existence. Carl looks at that creature and starts moving forward. By moving forward, Mickey and Jack were stopping him, and Jack attacks them and drops a flare. Now Jack distracts that creature, and as soon as that creature comes behind Jack, he falls into a pit. Now Mickey picks up Carl and comes near that pit. Now Carl thanks Mickey for saving his life. That's when that creature grabs Carl's leg and pulls him into the pit. They both hold Carl's hand, but Carl releases his hand from them, exploits that liquid explosive, and kills that creature with himself. Now Jack and Mimi escape the explosion and come to another part of the mine, where they see something like Ronnie's cocoon. Now that creature comes to this place and surrounds this place from all sides. Now Jack understands that this cocoon controls all these creatures, and that's why Jack remembers his friends and stabs that cocoon, by which all those creatures die. And now this mine also starts collapsing. And before the collapse of the mine, they both come out safely. They both come out and see that those creatures had also killed John. And this happened when people were inside the mine. Now in the end of the movie, we see Jack and Mimi waiting for the taxi, because Mimi's work was done here. Now Jack puts Mimi's stuff in the car, and puts her in the car. And then we see that Mimi's stuff had Ronnie's cocoon. And with this suspense, this movie ends here. So friends, for more such